another episode of The Man Space, where my co host Marquise and I talk about issues and scenarios and elements that men need to be able to speak and explore in a safe place, in a safe space, so that we continue to build a ecosystem and a community of resilient men who truly can continue to evolve in a supported way to live their life and be at peace and not be stressed out. And as we explore the topic for today, we want you to think about what is the 2026 6 a.m. wake up call is. The wake up call for men is emotional fitness. Just as much as men are disciplined to go to the gym and work out and build their physical strength, the ability to lift 200, 500. I just heard a 80-year-old gentleman talk about how he can lift 1,000 pounds this weekend. Let's ask the question, how much emotional weight can you lift and how resilient can you be? Because the 2026 fit man is a man who can handle emotions and hold space for other people's emotions in a complex world. So I can already see you're chomping at the bits and super excited to jump into this conversation, Marquise. So go ahead, take it away.
Doc, most men, most of us, our emotional fitness is about that big. I'm reminded of when I was married several years ago, a time when we had met this amazing family and they were like parents to us. They were just good people. And we were leaving their home, going on a trip. They wanted us to swing by to say hello to us. And I remember that they had made some sandwiches for us to take on the road. They just loved us so much. And I think they were peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I remember that I think they made me two, made my former spouse one, but she took half of one or something. And I remember this feeling like, well, where's the rest of my sandwich? And it was so simple, but it was a moment where the little boy in me showed up wanting his way and felt disappointment over a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that wasn't expected, that was a gift, and I needed to share some of it. While that's a silly story of a reality, a real moment in my life, many of us men are very similar, and we've got to step up to the table emotionally. We've got to step beyond our mother's nurturing into the manhood, the necessity to manage our own egos, our own feelings, and our own notions around what we think and who we think we are. One of the first things that comes to mind to me, Doc, is that unless I am doing inner work, my emotional game is subject to the wind. If it's a high wind, a low wind, a winter wind, or a summer wind, it will determine how I respond. And brothers, that is no way in the world for us to live or declare that we are emotionally intelligent. The way to find out if you're really fit or not emotionally, well, how did you respond the last time something didn't go your way? I mean, not only didn't go your way, but something you believe you deserved. How about something you believe you earned? How about something you believe was owed to you? How did you respond? I mean, disappointment is normal. I want you to know I'm not saying you should just smile like no problem. But how long did that disappointment last? Did it carry over into negative habits? Did it last more than a couple of days? Are you still suffering from it? Because all of those things help us find out where we really are emotionally. And many times, based on what I've read, based on what I've seen, a lot of it proves we're not that emotionally strong and that emotionally fit. So I'd love to give you a few things to help you begin to strengthen your emotional wheelhouse, your emotional strength. And the first one I'd like to talk about is the one that's the most easiest for us: physical discipline. If you are not regularly demanding something of your body, whether that's a run, a workout, or getting up at a certain time, whether you feel like it or not, because the feeling is in the world of emotion. Whether you feel like it or not, then you're probably lacking in the area of emotional discipline and strength. And it's something that you can do naturally, whatever your chosen discipline is, to begin to strengthen that. The second area is, are you an emotional eater? Do you eat based on whatever's available? Or are you choosing consciously things that are going to help you fully show up as a man? Because if you're not, then you're still being ruled by your emotions and how you feel. Not in a healthy way, but whatever the wind is blowing. Three, when you go out to party, are you getting totally toasted still? Are you sniffing and doing things just because everyone else is? That says a lot about where your emotions are. It's just what it is. Three, when it comes to the people you love the most, how do you respond to them when they don't do what you want to do? Are you gentle? Are you rude? Are you short tempered? Do they get the worst of you from the stress you pent up at work because you weren't emotionally strong enough to articulate that the boss and you needed to have a conversation to come to a better agreement? So you therefore took it out on them? That's a way to find out. Dr. Kas and I have talked about this. I am appalled at the number of us who take out our anger and physical and mental abuse on the people we say we love. I didn't know how staggering the numbers were. It says a lot about your emotional intelligence. And until we can discipline ourselves and go deeper to understand, why am I feeling what I'm feeling? It's okay that you feel. I'm not judging that you feel something. Go deeper. Why are you feeling it? What's not working in your life? Where are you not disciplined? It's not the other person. It's not, well, they did. It's, why is what they did bothering me? Oh, I didn't have control. I didn't get my way. What does that say about us? What does that say about us if we don't get our way? This is not our world. We are in a world with others. That's why I brought up the physical discipline. That's why I brought up nutritional, because those are ways that we can start to hone in this notion of just the wild craving in us, which Dr. Cass has said on so many shows, the boy within us. We're no longer boys. Therefore, we have to cultivate this sense of emotional wellness and strength. And then the last area, Dr. Cass, I'm sure you have things you want to share: physical, nutritional. The last area I want to share is mental. A lot of us get very good at one thing. We don't read other disciplines. We don't listen to podcasts. We don't interact with others to challenge what we believe. Here's what I want to offer to you in the mental world. Forget everything you've ever thought you thought was true. Be willing to let it all go. Because until you're willing to let go of everything you think is true, then you're probably not emotional fit. Here's what I mean by that. If what you think is true and you're not willing to hear the opinions of others, then you are no longer growing. You are stagnant. And your ability to process and expand, you've already closed, which likely then means your emotional intelligence is fairly low. I invite you as a fellow man to consider, when I start to listen to other people, it actually gives me a chance to expand. Here's what I mean by that. When you realize that part of your growth comes from opposition, comes from a difference of opinion, and you embrace that, it makes you better. It's like a high. It means you're still growing. It's like a new infusion of nutrients mentally, emotionally, to elevate you as a better man, as a better human, as a better contributor to the planet. But if what you think is the only right thing, then I would like to offer you're being easily manipulated if you don't even realize it. Any mind that's not willing to expand is easy to control. So, brothers, I invite you, look for contrary opinion and be in it. I started a group with a friend of mine back in 2009. It's called The Marketplace. We had a set of rules, and I would like to offer this to you as a practical means of engaging in conversations that are different than yours. You can only respond from the space and the statements of me, my, and I. You don't get to judge the other person's perspective, just me, my, I. which means you listen to the other person's perspective, but then you only speak from your own. And that beautiful emotional mental dance begins to cultivate in you space for potential growth. I'm not saying accept others' way as being right. I'm saying be open so that you get to discover the holes in your own philosophy so you can expand, which allows you to exhale and be present more frequently than not from an emotional space.
Very well said, Marquise. The world has bifurcated into male versus female, whether we like it or not.
Mhm.
And men embrace strength and women demonstrate emotion.
Mhm.
And emotion is considered as mood, and emotion is considered as emotional drama queen having a meltdown,
Mhm.
which is not true, but that is how it has been positioned.
Mhm.
So I am also observing in our world, boys are never taught what it is to be a boy, to grow up to be a man. They're told, don't do this. If you do this, you'd be a sissy. If you do this, you're a girl.
Yeah.
Men are taught how not to be a girl instead of being taught how to be a man. So, in
So good.
that reality, a definition of manhood is about how not to be a girl
Yeah.
and how not to be emotional, which is
Mhm.
different from understanding my own emotions.
Yeah.
And understanding and becoming aware of my emotions and managing my emotions is an actual skill set. It's not a mood swing, it's not a hormonal thing. How can we help men get past the definition of don't be a girl
Mhm.
to be a man, first of all? Because
Yeah.
it's not a conversation society has on what it is to be a man.
Correct.
And then from that being a man perspective,
Mhm.
what does embracing my emotions, being honest and authentic and present with my emotion, and allowing for that emotion to flow through me, and then knowing when, where, how, and to what extent to allow that emotion to show up.
Mhm.
Boys are not taught this, and men have not mastered this. This
Yeah.
is why masculine reaction is kill somebody else or kill myself.
Yeah. Really. Yeah. Doc, that is so real. Fortunately, I grew up with great, great men who were healthily nurtured in their masculine energy and taught me to hug, to listen, to ponder, to think. But I will say this, until we are willing to go back to the last point I said, until we're willing to consider other conversations, until we're willing to grow ourselves mentally, then that will be a very difficult thing to overcome. Our description of manhood is so narrow, and we don't even realize that it's so much broader. I would encourage you, as men, I'll give you a couple books now to read to begin to potentially expand your limited construct. Number one, the book The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, a phenomenal book just around the spirit of the human that can help you expand beyond what you think a man is. Number two, a book by David Dea called The Way of the Superior Man. I'm not saying these books are law. I'm simply saying that these books are there are two potential resources to help you begin to expand your mind. And then I'll go back to an old school, very old one, The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. Quick story from there. He talked about a real story down in Florida. A man got on a very hot bus, as it can be in Florida, with two children. Children were sort of being kids. The bus was moving, they bump into people, etc. One man, ironically, mustered the courage to say, "Hey, mister, why don't you get a hold of your children?" And then the man finally spoke and said, "I would, but I don't know how to tell them their mother just died." I love that book, love that story, because what it does is it gets behind all this energy that we as men project, and it gets us present to life as it can occur. if you really want to grow your awareness of what it means to be a man, then you've got to expand the definition by itself. If you were just to expand the definition, it would change things drastically. But you're right, Dr. Katz. Many of us have never even heard the concepts that you and I are talking about because we based our identity around who we control, what we can buy, and how we look, all of which are nice things, but not reality.
And I would like to suggest 4 steps. 4 steps we can follow to
Mhm.
build the discipline of what this looks like and how are we going to actually make this happen. One is learn to recognize what am I feeling,
Yeah, it's good.
right? And once I recognize it, then understand how to manage it.
Yes, yes,
Once I know how to manage it, then I need to learn how not to let it paralyze me, but how do I grow resilient through it? And then the fourth one is how do I repeat, rinse and repeat, right? So it's a scaffolding mechanism where little by little by little we're learning and growing. It is not 0 to 150 miles an hour. It is
yeah,
step by step by step.
yeah,
Recognize, manage, build
yeah.
resilience around it,
Mhm,
and repeat.
mhm,
And every day, every week becomes stronger and more resilient.
mhm.
And there are things you can do. Keep a diary, keep
Yeah,
notes, keep track of your triggers. What is triggering you? What are the wounds in you that is triggering it? And what do you need to do to go heal?
yeah,
Because other people don't know your triggers, they're just having a conversation. Their words may be triggering you, their body language may be triggering you because you have a wound unbeknownst to them from your past and you
yeah,
can't hold them hostage to it,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So those 4 steps are really necessary. And then it starts allowing you to realize your emotions are a key performance indicator for your life. It
Key
is not an emotional outburst. It is not asking you to be a drama king like you attribute it to women. Women are naturally emotionally intelligent because they've had to deal with sucking it up and controlling their emotions and remaining in their course of life to live it in a world where if they don't go with the flow and appear to be okay, they're going to be squashed, right?
yeah,
And so over time, women have mastered this out of necessity. And we're
yeah,
at a time where men are having to master this. But their self talk is that, oh, that is so sissy. That is such a
yeah,
chick thing.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
need to be a drama king. But how can the challenge you have to give yourself is how do you overcome that false definition so that you can hold space for
Mhm.
what you're feeling and not denying that? Because your true viability, physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, all of it is predicated on you being able to hold your feelings, your emotions, and deal with them.
Yeah, yeah. And I would add, Doc, many of you may find yourself, well, I can't be that because of the people around me. And while their definitions may still be warped about your manhood, you are solely responsible for how you show up. And you may have to coach them through your growth process because they're not familiar either. Maybe they have a poor definition of what manhood is. But I not command, I like pull to you that you're worth it. You're worth the work. You're worth the vulnerability. And while that may mean some people may mock you, some people may even laugh because they don't understand. It's imperative that you find the healthy space for you so that you don't shortcut your life too early, continue to live a poor quality of life, and miss out on the greatness that's inside of you.
Absolutely, Marquise. And the benchmark I would love for every man to start looking at is bench pressing 250, 500, 750 pounds is not the definition of fitness.
No, not at all.
Are you able to process your emotions, sit with them,
Yeah.
make sense of them, hold space for yourself,
Hmm.
and then reach out to your brotherhood, reach out to this
Yeah.
women, sisterhood in
Yeah.
your life,
Yeah.
and take their perspective to help you evolve.
Yeah.
That is the true fitness.
Yeah.
Because lack of emotional fitness would actually tank your physical fitness. There's something called psychosomatic.
Hmm.
Your
Hmm.
psychological presence is going to drive your physical presence. One of the
Will.
things throughout my husband's illness the last 8 years, we have practiced. When the spirit is willing and the heart and mind are taking the journey, the
Hmm.
body will show up.
That's so good. That's so good. Yeah, one of the things I've done, Doc, is if I experience something that I know can be emotional or I feel like can have a deep emotional impact on me, if I think there's a chance that I could be derailed, begin running, looking for an out. Before that happens, I pick up the phone. I got about 3 to 5 people I'm gonna call and go, hey, listen, something happened. I feel okay right now, but I know it's fresh. Later on, it might sting. I'm just saying, check in on me. Not because I'm worried right now, but I'm making myself be accountable so I don't end up on a different path that will then destroy me because I was unaccountable, hiding instead of showing up. So thankfully, I have people like you. I have others in my life that I can have those kinds of conversations with that can help me because feeling negative feelings is normal, but it's what we do with them in the end. I love that you talked about feeling it, holding it, not blaming someone else, but determining how I'm going to manage through it.
Absolutely. And this is not just for men, right? You and I
Hmm.
do this for each other.
That's correct. That's correct. That's
Here
accurate.
is how I'm feeling. Here is what happened.
Yeah.
I actually I have no idea how to process this because
Yeah.
this is so foreign to me. Obviously, I
Yeah.
am a foreigner, so a lot of things in the Western world is like coming out of left field. And I have not just a sisterhood, I have a brotherhood.
Yes.
Men I
Correct.
can reach out to and be open without feeling like they're going to judge me or use it against me, right?
Right.
And take their perspective so that I can continue to evolve even as a woman, right? So
Yeah.
men and women both have to do this.
Yes.
And if we
That's accurate.
don't take the other gender's perspective,
Yeah.
we're only looking at one side of the coin when a coin has two sides.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So please keep in mind taking perspective and leaning
Mhm.
and asking for input and using that input to resiliently evolve is
Mhm.
actually not a weakness. It truly is the foundation of strength.
Yeah, it's good.
And the true fitness is not about can you feel things,
Hmm.
right? What are you doing before you wake up, before the world wakes up? What is the inner work you're doing
Yeah.
so that you can show up and be present
Yeah.
and in your presence be resilient and not reactive?
Yeah. Doc, that's actually a real good hack. I was telling a friend today, when you wake up, try not to use your logic mind around whether or not you got enough sleep. Instead, notice that you're awake and step into a discipline that's quiet time by yourself, a walk, a run, meditation, the gym. Because we don't know what life's going to throw at us during the day. But if we don't take the time to do the disciplines, the things that nurture our spirit, which is one of my favorite phrases, how do you nurture your spirit, your mind, your will, and your emotions? If you don't take time to regularly nurture your spirit, then all you will have are a bunch of excuses about what life threw at you. Instead, like Doc said, get up, surrender and discipline, and be present before life shows up so you can hear more clearly.
Perfectly said, and what a wonderful way to bring another wonderful conversation to a wrap, monkeys. And to our audience out there, please remember there are hacks you can have. Keep a journal, keep a diary,
Yes.
make sure you keep track of your triggers, right?
Yeah.
And as you go through this process, remember your emotional resiliency is not about dealing with success.
That's right.
Observe yourself on how you handle disappointments,
Mhm.
how you handle situations when people don't agree with you,
Yeah.
people don't do what you want them to do, because they don't need to do what you need for them to do. They need to do what they need to do for themselves,
Yeah.
right? So everybody needs to show up for themselves.
Yeah.
And the importance of you being present to understand that. And then with that presence, creating environments where there is a reason for other people to show up and engage with you.
Yeah.
Because my way of the highway means you're going to isolate yourself.
Okay.
So just being present is not enough. Building your resiliency is not enough, but knowing when, where, and how to deal and navigate disappointments and differences, that is the true mark of your emotional stamina, your emotional strength. And the 2026 man is going to need to have that, because guess what? Nobody other than you is going to agree with you 100%.